We've got more M&A occurring in the mining space, folks. The focus of today was announced a couple weeks back, as we were hoping we'd get a response to a few questions we had for management. That didn't happen, but we're going to proceed anyways here, because we know our followers have a hankering for uranium deals, and it'd be a shame if we missed out providing some coverage on this one. We're talking the marriage between premier American uranium and nuclear fuels. Let's dive in. Don't miss the Rural Symposium for Natural Resource Investing happening July 7th in Boca Raton. If you can't make it in person, that's not a problem. You can get your ticket to watch live online or on demand. We'll be there with the deep dive, so if you make it out to Boca, come say hi at our booth. If you want to sign up, click on the link in the description to get your pass. There's been steady consolidation within the uranium space since the run we saw in 2024. And that doesn't appear to be stopping anytime soon as more of the juniors in the sector face less than ideal market conditions. Of course, the big financing from SPUT this past week changed sentiment a bit. But the announcement of Premier American acquiring nuclear fuels predates that by a couple of weeks. Anyways, the focal point of the transaction here appears to be the creation of a large US-focused pure-play uranium explorer. Premier may not be the only one in the space, but the addition of nuclear fuels and their flagship KC project in Wyoming certainly raises their credentials a bit, especially when their additional exploration stage projects are brought into the mix. All told, once the two combine, Premier will hold a portfolio consisting of a total of 12 projects across multiple US-based uranium districts, with those projects spanning a combined 104,000 acres. Not exactly Atha Energy sized, who is a Canadian peer with over 7 million acres of prospective claims, but still sizable in their own right. That portfolio of projects includes everything from exploration stage to near-term development stage. And to get more specific, Premier claims that post-transaction, the company will hold the title for the most ISR-focused exploration in Wyoming in 2024, which is a weirdly specific crown to wear. But hey, whatever makes you happy. The two companies drilled a total of 368 holes across an aggregate of 209,000 feet in 2024, or just shy of 64,000 meters. Let's take a deeper look at a couple of these properties. All right, so there's really three priority properties here amid this portfolio that contains 12 assets. Namely, they are Premier's Ceboleta project in New Mexico, Premier's Cyclone ISR project in Wyoming, and Nuclear Fuels KC ISR project, which is also in Wyoming. The main asset here, from what we can tell, is expected to remain as the Ceboleta project, which Premier has promised to deliver an updated mineral resource and PEA for in the summer of 2025. Acquired in June 2024 with the purchase of American Future Fuels, Ceboleta is found in the Grants Mineral Belt, where it boasts both an open pit and underground resource estimate from uranium hosted in a sandstone deposit. In the open pit category, Ceboleta is estimated to contain 5.2 million pounds of indicated U3O8 at a grade of 0.078%, and a further 2.3 million pounds of inferred U3O8 at an average grade of 0.072%. In the underground category, the project has further resources of 13.4 million pounds of indicated U3O8 at 0.208% and 2.6 million inferred pounds at a grade of 0.135% U3O8, which is based on an April 2024 estimate. The property notably saw historic production from 1975 through to 1981, when over 3.8 million pounds of uranium was extracted from the JJ No. 1 and St. Anthony mines, and has seen a whopping 3,600 historical drill holes conducted across an aggregate of 570,000 meters. Next is Premier's Cyclone project, which is found in the Great Divide Basin in Wyoming, near to UR Energy's Lost Creek ISR uranium mine. The project covers 25,000 acres, with Premier's inaugural program on site occurring just last year, with 41 drill holes conducted at the Cyclone Rim Zone, and 5 holes drilled out of a planned 36-hole program at the Osborne Draw, with that program expected to resume this year. Assays here were said to be consistent with mineralization found elsewhere in the basin, with the current 43101 technical report identifying that an exploration target of 6.5 to 10 million short tons of U3O8 exists here, with grades expected to average 0.06%. On the other side of the state is Nuclear Fuels KC project, found in the Powder River Basin, which hosts most of the ISR projects in the state. KC covers a total of 34,000 acres along the western limb of this basin. The project in 2023 and 2024 saw an excess of 69,000 meters of drilling, with 2 discoveries made last year that are to be followed up upon with 2025's exploration program. While no resource exists for KC, an exploration target of 11.5 to 30 million pounds of U3O8 exists here, at grades ranging from 0.06% to 0.1%. Collectively, Premier, post-transaction, is expected to hold 5 projects in Wyoming, 4 in Colorado, and 1 in each of Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, at least for now. Given management has a track record of running consolidation plays in the uranium space, they were behind Mega Uranium, which conducted a total of 9 acquisitions over a 2-year period in the mid-aughts, as well as Consolidated Uranium, which conducted 12 acquisitions from 2020 through to 2023. It's likely that we can expect more of the same here. By now, you're probably wondering what the terms look like. The transaction will see Premier acquire Nuclear Fuels in an all-stock deal, with Nuclear Fuels shareholders to receive 0.33 Premier shares for each share of nuclear they currently hold. The ratio is said to amount to a premium of 54% based on the closing price of the 2 equities the day before the transaction was announced. Premier shareholders will own 59% of the resulting company, while the combined entity has a pre-forma equity valuation of about 102 million Canadian. The company will also boast a series of major investors, including Sachem Cove Partners at 23%, the Sprott Uranium Miners ETF at 9.6%, Encore Energy at 9.5%, ISO Energy at 5.4%, and Mega Uranium at 2.3%. Premier is expected to have $14 million in cash on hand post-transaction, thanks in part to Nuclear Fuels having a cash position of $12 million, which most certainly influenced the decision for Premier to conduct the transaction in the first place. The deal, of course, remains subject to shareholder approval by Nuclear Fuels shareholders, alongside customary regulatory, court, and exchange approvals, with the transaction expected to close in the third quarter of 2025. The C-suite of Premier is expected to remain unchanged following the purchase of Nuclear Fuels, while the board of directors will be expanded to 7 members, which is to include 2 members appointed by Nuclear Fuels. All right, so let's wrap it up. Look, if you're a fan of the roll-up strategy, Premier might be the kind of company you're looking for. This is the second acquisition that they've conducted in the last 12 months. And things seem ripe for the company to go out and make more of such transactions. But the question I always ask myself about such strategies is, who does it really benefit? It's not like the names running this strategy tend to put a lot of assets into production. And maybe that's a good thing as far as the price of the commodity goes. But maybe it's not such a good thing in terms of job creation and development of critical mineral supply chains, which our politicians seem to love to talk about. But anyways, that's what makes a market a market. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Also, if there's stories in the mining sector you want us to cover, please let me know in the comments section. All right, everybody, thank you for watching.